Everyone, my name is Sam Ramsey, and this is my philosophy project on the meaning of life. I'm not gonna try and tell you what the meaning of life is because I don't believe that there is a meaning to life. I don't think it's as easy as just sitting down and saying the meaning of life is blank. If you think about it, there are 7 billion people in this world, and I think it's almost naive to sit down and say that the meaning of life is to be happy or the meaning of life is to do fun things, because for some people the meaning of life is to survive. When you think about people in third world countries, they're not worried about whether or not, they're going to have a fun time that day or whether they're going to get to do crazy things with their friends. They're worried about finding food and clean water. So instead of answering what the meaning of life necessarily is, I want to answer how you can find meaning in your life. And I believe that finding meaning to your own life is completely based around how you approach it and how you react to and interpret the events that are thrown in your direction. Albert Camus was a 20th century philosopher that focused very heavily on the idea of the absurd. This was a concept that stated that people are always trying to find an inherent value and a meaning to their life. Camus argued that, there might not be a meaning to life and you might not be able to find an inherent value, but as humans, it's kind of our responsibility to just accept that fact. Not only accept it, but embrace it. And while we may experience fear and encounter problems throughout our life, these should only be regarded as obstacles that we use to inspire ourselves to push us forward. And the way I look at it is accidents are always going to happen and things aren't always going to go our way, but I think for us as humans, our best plan of attack is just to accept it and use it as a learning experience. Now, I'm not saying that that everything happens for a reason and that this is all part of a greater plan, because in my opinion, stuff happens and things aren't necessarily controlled by anyone or anything else. The Stoics teach us that we shouldn't be worrying about things outside of our control, and unless you can have an influence on it and unless you can change it directly, then you shouldn't even bother being concerned about it, because that would be useless. At the end of the day, I'm still conscious of my life. I'm still conscious of my actions, what I'm doing, and I think it's up to me to take that consciousness and give it meaning and give it purpose of my own, whether or not that affects people on the other side of the country and whether or not I'm saving thousands of lives. I'm still conscious of what I'm doing, and I think that's where you can create importance for yourself and you can create meaning for yourself, whether or not it is having a global impact. Through creating meaning for yourself, I believe that opens up the door for the opportunity to create meaning for your life. And I guess the reason why I don't think that there's the meaning of life and why you can't define that is because then you'd only ever be working towards one goal. And like I said earlier, you can't, put a single goal on millions of people because everyone's doing different things. And another issue that I have with defining the meaning of life is, what if you've already got to your goal? What if the meaning of life is to be happy and you're already happy? If you're the happiest person alive, then what are you doing? Like, what else could you possibly achieve if you've already achieved the meaning of life? Would you just be continuing on, just, doing your thing, but you're not really affecting anybody? Your actions, can also create meaning to your life. What you choose to do and what you choose to not do. All, in the grand scheme of things, it affects how everything plays out. It affects your character, your personality, who you choose to be. And I think all of those different components and different factors ultimately shape you as a person, and then that in turn kind of creates the meaning for your life as well. And in reacting to the events that are thrown in your direction, I think it's also important to remember that whether or not it goes your way, to just embrace it. Be amongst the few that dare to take action, because there's a whole world of people out there that never take the action and they always live in regret with things they could have done, things they should have done, things they would have have done. And if you're the person that just goes out and does it, you'll create meaning in your life through your actions, and I think you'll live your life in a way that would make you proud and hopefully the people around you proud. And I think it's important to just make the most out of your life as well. Do the unexpected, talk to people you wouldn't normally talk to. I mean, my biggest fear is that I get to the end of the line and I just regret everything I haven't done. I hope you enjoyed.